have you ever thought about owning a second home or possibly purchasing an investment property? Today, we're going to sit down and answer all the questions that you might have about purchasing a second property. Welcome to another episode of Let's Get Real. So thanks for joining us today. I'm Lisa Bibby here with Keller Williams, and I'm sitting down with Corey Phelps from Front Street Mortgage. Welcome, Corey.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me on.
So we are here to answer all of those questions that we come across about purchasing a second home. And the first one I want to talk about is, let's just take a deep look about why you want to purchase a second home. So there's a lot of different reasons. You might want it as a vacation home. You might want to just purchase a second property as an investment property, or you might be looking to purchase a home as a retirement home. So one of the main questions I come across a lot is, are the loans different whether or not you're going to buy a vacation home versus an investment property?
That's correct, Lisa. There is a clarification there and a classification that you want to take a look at when you're looking to buy these homes. If it's going to be an investment property where you're going to rent it out and gain income from it, then that does need to be classified as investment property, which does come with a little bit higher down payment amount.
So when applying for another mortgage, will the rate be different?
With regard to a vacation or second home, the rate is only slightly higher than what it would be on a primary residence. When we look at it as an investment property, the rate typically is a full percentage point or higher, depending on how much the client is putting down in their whole entire scenario.
So that brings me to the next question is, when purchasing a second property, how much money down will I need to have?
When it comes to down payment for a second home, the requirements are really close to a primary residence. We're typically looking to have at least 10% down, but you can definitely do 20% down just like a primary residence with no problem. When it's an investment property, you're looking at 25% or more down in that situation.
So if you guys find this information valuable, go ahead and subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to hear if you currently own a second home or if it's something that you're interested in purchasing. So is it easier to qualify to get a mortgage on a second home?
The qualifications for a second home, when it's going to truly be a second home, are not a whole lot different than a primary residence. Down payment requirements are still, you can get away with doing 20% down and less in some cases. It's actually quite easy to do. It just comes down to what people's budget and what they can afford. And from an investment property standpoint, the same question is it hard to do that? And the answer is, it's not much harder, and it actually gets easier as the more properties that you purchase, because the first time you buy it, you don't have any properties on your tax returns. You haven't established yourself as a landlord. Once you have it on your tax returns for 2 years, you've established yourself as a landlord, and now you can count that income to offset the debt that you have. And you can use existing leases at that point too. And then you go to buy this next one, maybe it's a fourplex and 3 of them are rented out. You can actually utilize that income once you've established yourself as a landlord.
So oftentimes buyers are curious about how property tax changes when they purchase a second property. So can you touch on how exactly that does change?
Thanks, Lisa. That's a great question. When it comes to a second home or an investment property, the taxes on those are going to be approximately 35 to 40% higher than what it would be on a primary residence.
So we talked a little bit about, whether or not you're going to be purchasing a second home as a vacation home or as a retirement home. Can you talk a little bit about why somebody might consider purchasing a home to retire in now versus waiting until they actually retire?
A lot of my clients are going ahead and buying their retirement homes today while they're still working. The qualification process becomes easier because they have more income as opposed to later on when they're just working off pension and Social Security. And we have ways to show them that they can have a low payment going into retirement with just a few simple measures throughout the lifetime of their loan. So people can buy a home now and 5 years from now retire, but still take advantage of today's great rate and today's lower prices than what they will be 5 years from now.
Yeah, and I think that sounds fantastic that you can help guide somebody to purchase a home now and lock in these low rates. And then also when they do go to retire, that gives them the option of selling the current home that you're in now and ultimately having a lower payment. So Corey, you do something really unique for people that are purchasing a second home for retirement. That's called recasting. And a lot of lenders are not doing this. So can you touch a little bit about this?
Yeah, recasting is a wonderful tool. The strategy that I've used for over 20 years with my clients is for them to purchase that retirement home if they can afford it while they are still working. They currently have income that's much higher typically than what they're going to have at retirement, which makes it easier to qualify. And they can utilize that vacation home over the years so that when they retire, they're ready to move into it. They have a lower payment. We have a way that we help our clients do what's called recasting, which if you're interested in finding out about that, just give me a call. And that allows the client to kind of have their cake and eat it too. They can buy the house now, well, before prices go up too much. They can buy a house now with rates still being low. And then 3 years, 5 years, whenever they retire, they can move into that retirement home and actually take that money that they maybe made from their primary residence or got in retirement and actually apply it towards that balance. And I can show them how to have a lower payment later without having to refinance, without having to pay any of those costs, and without having to be at the mercy of what rates will be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, because it certainly looks like they'll be dramatically higher than where they are right now.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us today, Corey. And it's always great to have you on and help get these questions answered.
Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate you having me on.
Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. If you guys have questions about purchasing a second home, call today. You can reach out and our contact information is in the description below.